Hello and welcome to my weekly comic book reviews. Today I'll review the books that were released on the 24th of October 2012. For the observant among you who may notice my video is a bit different this week, that I've got a title screen. That throughout this video there will be many title screens separating all the reviews. It's just something I'm trying. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing them like this. Today's, you could say, is kind of a bit of an experiment. I was messing around this week on YouTube, seeing all the things you can add into your videos, and I'm just kind of playing around with it and seeing how it turns out. I may keep doing it like this. I may just do it like this for 1 week. Time will tell, but I hope whatever the end result, but I hope today it enhances the viewer experience of viewing my video. So you don't watch this to hear me just waffle on about videos. You watch it to hear me waffle on about comic books. So let's get on with the show. So we start off this week with Punisher Warzone, issue 1 of 5, and the story continues where Punisher left off, and Frank is on the run. That the police believe that he is now a cop killer, but it wasn't Punisher, but they don't know that. So they're all, where in the past they've sort of turned a blind eye to Punisher's activities because he's been taking out criminals. Now he's taking out cops, and they can't turn a blind eye to him anymore. So they're looking to take down the Punisher. So Punisher's gone into hiding, but he gets found by Spiderman, and Spiderman's a bit pissed at Punisher. He figures out that Punisher used one of his web shooters when he took out the exchange, and Spiderman now feels that Punisher's turned something Spiderman's invented into a murder weapon, and that's something that Spiderman can't condone. So he's going to bring Punisher in. Punisher manages to get away from Spidey, but he does get Spiderman's other web shooter. So Spiderman calls in the Avengers, and the Avengers are like, why have you called us together? And Spider-Man, we need to take out the Punisher. They all go to leave thinking this is a joke, and Spider-Man says, I'm not joking. And he shows them the newspaper, shows them what Punisher's been up to. And then Captain America's like, no, you're right, Spider-Man, we need to take him out. And Iron Man's like, you can't mean to send, isn't it a bit overkill to send all the Avengers? And he's like, no, we wouldn't do that, you know. So he gets Black Widow. Black Widow's going to go after Punisher. At the end of the meeting, Wolverine's like, Cap, this is wrong, you know. There are some people that don't deserve to live, that some people that are just so evil that they'll keep coming back, and you need to put them down for good. So you already, within the Avengers, they're kind of like, there's this fraction already of what they should do and whether they agree or disagree. And I'm not going to spoil the end. There is a bit, kind of a twist at the end, but this was brilliant. I loved this. This was the book I was most looking forward to this week, and it lived up to it. I really enjoyed it. It's very much a setup issue for the rest of the series. This lays out what's going to happen and why they're going to be after the Punisher, how the Avengers and the Punisher are going to come into conflict, and why they're going to go up against him one at a time. I think it spells it out really nicely, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this series goes. It also made me quite sad that Greg Rucka is finishing with Marvel after this run. I only jumped on board Punisher halfway through, but I've loved his characterization of Frank Castle, the way he writes him. And I've never read Punisher before, so I haven't got a lot of things to sort of say, but I just love his presentation of the Punisher. And it made me really want to go back and sort of try out other books of the Punisher to see if he's always been written this way or if this is Greg Rucka. But I've really enjoyed this book. So now that they're bringing the Avengers into it, and it just shows what a great writer Rucka is, because the characterizations of those characters is spot on. He gets them all: Spider-Man, Wolverine, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. They're all pitch perfect in this issue. I really enjoyed this. I can't really think of anything bad to say. I enjoyed the art. I thought the art was good. I thought the script was really strong. It had me looking forward to future issues. There isn't really anything negative I can say about this book. I just really loved it, and I definitely give it a thumbs up and recommend checking it out. You don't have to have read the Punisher ongoing series that's now finished. Enough is explained in this that you could follow it on its own merits. As always, Marvel have their great front page, and I love how they present it at the Daily Bugle, and you've got a coffee stain, which I'm hoping is meant to be there, and Then you know the art inside I really like. It's all very much all at night, which seems to be really work well for the Punisher book, giving it that dark feel. And then when we get to the bit with the Avengers, the art sort of changes to being a bit brighter and a bit, you know, and they make the decision. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Really recommend checking it out. And you know, I read this one first, and it was a great way to start my week reading comic books. So yeah, Punisher Warzone, pick it up. Hello, next up we have The Flash, issue 13, and this continues where the annual left off. We saw Flash unconscious, having been defeated by the Rogues when King Grodd and his guerrilla army arrive on Earth in Central City. So the Rogues have to quickly revive the Flash, and the Flash works with the Rogues to defend Central City from Grodd's guerrilla army. Meanwhile, King Grodd's got some other kind of thing he's up to, and he goes off somewhere else. We get to see, at the beginning of the issue, we get to see Patty with Turbine, who says that he knows where Barry Allen is, because Patty thinks Barry Allen is dead, because she doesn't know he's the Flash. So this guy Turbine's going to help her, but like, does he know Barry's secret? Does he know Barry is the Flash, or what? You know, we don't know yet. The Rogues and Flash, they're fighting this army, and we see King Grodd. It's been quite brutal. There's a guy comes in and is like, I know this town like the back of my hand. We've seen him in past issues. I cannot recall his name for the life of me. I think he tried to join the Rogues a few issues back. And Grodd just pulls the guy's arm off, which is like really brutal. But then at the end, Flash, you know, while they're taking care of the guerrilla army, thinks, I've got to find where Grodd. This isn't like Grodd not to be in the battle. So Flash races off to find Grodd, and that's where the end of our issue thing goes, and with a big reveal, which I'm not going to spoil. I'm loving this book. I've loved this book since it first came out. The art since issue 1 has been gorgeous. When Manopool and Buccellato are on, they write it as well as do the art and the colours, and it just really gives it a unique feel. I think very much like when Batwoman first came out, and you had the guy doing the art and the writing. It gives it the unique feel that they know what they're thinking in their head and what they want to envision, and they don't have to like because sometimes it can be difficult to translate what's in your head to other people and for them to get it spot on, where when you can do that yourself and you're writing and that, and the story has just got stronger as it's gone on, you know, and the art has stayed consistently strong. We're getting all these threads that they've left out there, like King Grodd and the guerrilla army, like Turbine. They're coming back to that stuff, so you've got to think with Irish West, I can't say a name, still trapped in the Speed Force. Iris is still trapped in Speed Force, so you've got to think, but Flash thinks she's dead or she's trapped in time. He didn't realise she was still in the Speed Force. So you've got to think all of these stories leading up to Iris being discovered. I keep calling her Irish. Iris will be discovered at some point in the future, because that's the only other real big thread that they've sort of left dangling. But it's been brilliant. This book, I've loved it. The art, it's like I say, is gorgeous. The story is really good. You see here, the way you look at the bottom of the page, the way they have proudly presents the Flash at the bottom, and they make it in as part of the scene. And then you've got like Flash wakes up and the gorillas attack, and it's the use of panels as well that they do. It's just such a gorgeous looking book, and every issue is like this. Fantastic layouts, and it's just a fantastic book. I just love this book, and once again I've got another negative to say. I'm just really loving this book, and it's one of the new 52 books I look most forward to every month. I don't hear again and a lot of love, but I know I for one love and adore this book, and I'm definitely on board for the long shot, and I give it a thumbs up. So yeah, that's The Flash. Next up we have Wolverine Max issue 1, and this was another one of the books that I was really looking forward to this week. I'd never read none of the Max books before. I understand it's supposed to be more of a more realistic part of the Marvel multiverse, where they've had in the past, they've had characters like Nick Fury and Punisher, the characters that are a bit more realistic, that aren't like your costume superheroes. So they're adding Wolverine to that range now, and so I was really looking forward to it, because he's one of them characters that if you've got a more violent, more realistic world, I think Wolverine would fit in very well there. The story kicks off, there's been a plane crash or an explosion, and Wolverine's in the sea. He seems to be the only survivor. He finds another survivor, but before he can talk to her, she gets eaten by a shark. Wolverine then kills the shark with his claws, and we then find out Wolverine's legs have kind of been either chopped off or blown off in the explosion. These Japanese people find him, and they're like, he's a miracle. It's like search and rescue, and they're going like, it's a miracle that we found you. They find on him a Canadian passport that says his name is John Grant. So they get him back to hospital in Tokyo, and there's this Inspector Nakano, and he sort of wants to know what's happened, but Wolverine's got no memories of what's happened. And then he asks him, well, how come they said you had no legs, but now you've got legs? Because his legs have healed and they've grown back. And Wolverine's like, they must have got it wrong. So then we have these kind of like flashbacks showing you over his life, and showing you that no matter where he's gone, violence has always followed him. And then he's in the hospital, and he's having, and he's thinking, and you can see from the inner monologue that it's news to him that he can grow new legs, that he has claws in his hands. This is all news to him. He doesn't know none of this, or at least doesn't remember it at the moment. He then breaks out of the hospital because he's under police guard, takes out the police guards, and he gets to this hotel, and he sees on the CCTV, they want him, bring him in, they think he's a terrorist now, and they show this CCTV footage of him with this woman, and it's the woman that was eaten by the shark. So he's like, well, who was this woman, and what's going on? He then has another flashback of his first meeting with Victor, who obviously is going to be Victor Krieg, Sabretooth, and their first meeting. And then he remembers his name is Logan, and we go to the end of the issue, the big cliffhanger that's going to come. We have the big cliffhanger at the end of the issue that's going to bring us back next month. I personally really enjoyed this book. There was the one thing I didn't like was the flashbacks. Is he having those flashbacks? Is he having those? That's the thing that I wasn't clear on. Was that just there for the reader to give you a bit of his history, or was he remembering stuff in those flashbacks? Was that him? I wasn't very clear on that, because he seemed to have no memories. Yet you can clearly see in the flashback when he's going through all the years that he's got claws, and he's got, at the one point I believe he's got bone claws. So but then when he wakes up, he's kind of like, I've got these claws I didn't know nothing about, but he's just had all these memories of life. So it wasn't clear whether those bits were put in for the reader, or whether those were Wolverine remembering. However, I enjoyed the book. The thing I most associate with the Wolverine character is the whole thing with the memory loss. And so every character has that one thing that is key to them. With Batman, it's always that his parents were killed in front of him in Crime Alley. You can change his story no matter how many times you retell it, in comics, in cartoons, in movies. You're always going to have that in there. Same with Peter Parker, the Spiderman. You're always going to have his Uncle Ben getting killed, and him learning about, with great power comes great responsibility, which is such key to that character. So for each character, in comics, they've got that one thing. For me, the thing I most associate with Wolverine is memory loss. And I know since the House of M we've got away from that, and we've seen a real evolvement of his character, where now he's a leader and a teacher, because he's got that peace. He knows his past, and he's got that peace now, and he's able to move on. But this is telling the story from scratch, so we haven't got to that point, and I don't think we'd ever get to like an House of M situation. That doesn't sound the kind of story they would tell in the Max universe. So I'm looking forward to this, because it's obvious he's got the metal claws, So who put them there? Was that, and it's up from the flashbacks he used to have bone. So was it Weapon X? Is it going to be revealed that it's somebody else? I'm very looking forward to seeing how this unravels, and it's definitely got me intrigued. Over the last year, we've had so many issue 1s. It can be very difficult for a number 1 issue to reach and grab people. This didn't grab me, it didn't blow my mind off, but it intrigued me enough that I will be back for issue 2. I also really like the art in this. It gave the book, a different kind of tone than your regular, than just being a superhero book. So I did really like the art. And so far, like, Wolverine hasn't got much character because he's got the amnesia, and that's going to be interesting to tell. This is his encounter with Sabretooth, who they've made. You see, that's the guy there, that's Sabretooth, or Victor Creed. But yeah, I enjoyed this first issue, and I'm definitely going to come back for issue 2. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. Here we are, the Amazing Spider-Man, issue 696. Get ever closer to that big 700. And Peter, he's in a pretty bad situation. There's this device that the scientist Tiberius Stone has activated for the kingpin of crime that just really overstimulates Peter's spider sense and just overwhelms him. So with that going on, he's got captured as Peter Parker by the Hobgoblin, and they believe that they can get Spider-Man to bring back the case that they lost in the last issue. So they contact Max Modell and tell him to contact Spider-Man and that they want the case. Max goes into Peter's lab and finds this case, and he takes it to the Kingpin. And while they're all distracted, because it's inside the case is the Goblin Key, this key that Norman Osborn made that has on it all this information from when he was in charge. Like superheroes, secret identities and stuff like that. Then the original Goblin shows up, and he and the new Hobgoblin have a bit of a smackdown. While they're distracted, Peter gets free. Max gives him the web shooters, and Peter says, "Oh, I know how to use these from testing them." So they're shooting their way out of there, and they get the Goblin Key and they're going to escape. But things aren't going to be that simple, are they? I enjoyed this issue overall. I found the War of the Goblins, which is something I was really looking forward to, seeing the original Goblin lay the smackdown. I found that a bit anticlimactic, but I think we're going to get more of that in future issues. So I think this was just the opening salvo. I don't think it's going to be the full-on fight. But I was a bit disappointed from that. That was something that I'd be looking so forward to for so many issues. It just didn't reach the peak I was hoping it would. In saying that, I really enjoyed the scenes with Max and with Peter Parker. And Max is beginning to get suspicious, that Peter could be Spider-Man, and he's still got that doubt in his mind because he's seen them together. But, he's already like, you're handling them web shooters pretty good. I really like where this story is going. As more and more people are sort of putting things together. I hope next issue we get more of the goblins and them fighting each other, because that's what I want to see. But overall I enjoyed this issue. And I don't think it was as strong as the last issue, but I think it's still an enjoyable issue. And the art was great. I love it when Campancoli is on it because I just love his art. I love that whole scene there with the original Goblin. Then you got Max going into Peter's lab to get back get the suitcase, and then here the two goblins battling it out. But all in all, yeah, I enjoyed this, and I'd give it a definite thumbs up. So next up we have Justice League Dark issue 13. Things weren't looking too good for our heroes last time, but they manage to come back together, and they find out that it's Necro who's behind all of this. And we were introduced to Necro last month in the 0 issue, so it that kind of gap sort of pays off because it gives us who he is. Zatanna eventually agrees to go with him in the House of Secrets if he doesn't kill the team. So they follow, of course, Constantine, Deadman, Black Orchid. They follow in the House of Mystery. That don't end up so good. Meanwhile, Phoenix Faust has gone out to get Timothy Hunter, but Madame Xanadu shows up and rescues Hunter. And you know, we've only got to wait a week to see what the conclusion of this is. What's the importance of Hunter? He says he's giving away his magic, but still everyone's after him, so he still must be going to play a part in the story. And also, how they're going to defeat Necro, and who's going to get the books of magic. Wow. The conclusion to this story is next week in the annual, the Justice League Dark annual. This issue I loved. I've loved this series since Lemire came on board. I wasn't buying it before then, so I can't comment on what it was like before, but I know it's fast become one of my favourite comics each month, and one of the books I most look forward to. The art, as always, by Mikhail Yanin is beautiful, and the story is fast-paced, action-packed, and loads of really great developments. But yeah, you look at some of the layouts and the art in this book. You know, it's just really beautiful. And every issue we're learning a bit more about the members of the team. But yeah, as always, it's just a really brilliant job by all involved, and I just really love this book, and I give it a definite thumbs up. Well worth checking out. Next up we have issue 3 of AvX Consequences. Issue 3 of 5, only 2 more weeks left on this book. As with the last issue, it mainly concentrates on Cyclops, but we do get a little bit more this issue on other people. With Cyclops, we're following him in prison. He takes out these guys who are going to try and kill him, to show that he hasn't quite got that death wish anymore that we saw last issue. And he talks with the guy, and he still believes that he was in the right. And there's this strange thing that goes on with the salt or the sugar at the end, which I'm not going to spoil that. Hope, who has gone to school trying to live a normal life, she decides she wants answers, so she goes out searching for Cable. Iron Man is still a bit lost. The whole faith thing is a bit of a new concept for Iron Man, that science failed and faith won. It's something that Iron Man is having trouble coping with or getting his head around. We also get to see Emma Frost for the first time as Kitty Pryde visits her in prison. I enjoyed this issue. It didn't, like I said, it didn't blow me away. But it's interesting seeing like these consequences. And I know one of the complaints during AvX was there wasn't enough character moments and stuff. It was all action. Which, when you've got a book called AvX, that's what you expect. You expect to see lots of fighting. But this book is redressing that balance. It's given us all the bits in between. It's given us all the, you know, and often you'll get that in real life. You know, when you have a fight or a conflict, you have the conflict, and it's afterwards you think back and you think about it and you talk about it and you analyse it. It's not during the conflict you analyse it, it's after. So I think this book is really doing a good job of laying those bones in, and so far it's been an enjoyable series. You know, like I say, it hasn't blown my socks off, but it's been fun and it's been good. So you start off in Conlon there, you see your Iron Man. Then here's Emma Frost in prison. I don't understand why Cyclops has gone to a normal prison, but she hasn't. Then you got Wolverine there saying that he doesn't think Cyclops should be where he is. Oh yeah, the bit I forgot, Magic shows up and tells Storm where Colossus is. And then here you've got Hulk running away to try and find Cable. But yeah, all in all, it's nice. It's setting things up nice for the other books, and yeah, it was alright. It didn't, like I said, it didn't blow me away, but yeah, it was good, and I think I'd give it a thumbs up. Next up we have issue 1 of Ghost. When I originally picked this up I thought it was a new ongoing, but apparently it's a 4-part mini-series, so that was something I learnt. It starts off, I believe there was an issue 0, where the original events happened. At the start of this story, it's kind of like these two guys, I think it's Tommy and Vaughn, they're TV presenters, and they get this device, and they're going to bring this ghost called Resurrection Annie to life. But unfortunately they summon up this ghost, and then somebody breaks in to take back this device, and she rips the guy's heart out. So now they're what I can imagine, they're on the run now, and they just don't know what to do next. And she's like, she's not so much a ghost now, she's a person. She has no memory of who she is or what she is, but she goes into these rages and tries to rip people's hearts out, and her hands can sort of reach into people, so she can just rip it out. So it's a bit like, but we don't know who she is. We meet Vaughn's ex, who is now with somebody else. We meet this woman called Dr. October, Linda October, and she's killing this guy that stole the box from her that Tommy and Vaughn used. And so she kills this guy, and then the man who's with Vaughn's ex, he comes round to see this Dr. Linda October. But meanwhile, Tommy and Vaughn and this ghost have sort of figured out that this device they had was stolen from Dr. October, so they need to go and see Dr. October. So they're on their way to see Dr. October. So this guy shows up there first, and he's telling Dr. October off, and then he starts slashing her with this broken glass, and then he hands her the glass and says, "You do it." And then that's where we get the twist at the end. But this book was like, it didn't blow me away, but what it did do is it really intrigued me. Who is this ghost? Who is the guy that's going out with Vaughn's ex? Who is this Dr. October? You know, there were so many questions I was left with, and I was kind of like, I was really intrigued. Because it didn't sort of blow me away, I was in two minds whether to pick it up next month. But now I know it's only a mini-series, I think I may be back next month to get the rest of these, because I want to see these answers, and knowing that I've only got to wait, 3 issues to hopefully get everything answered, I think I'll be back. But as the first issue, like I said earlier, the last year must have had about 100 issue 1s come out. So, they're probably not the event that they used to be, but and we've had so many really great ones that just have blown us away. But what this one does, while it doesn't blow you away, it intrigues you enough that you sort of want to come back for answers. So yeah, I think I'd give this one a thumbs up, and I'm definitely going to check out the next issue. Next up we have Superman issue 13. I haven't picked this book up for about 6 months. I think I stopped around issue 6. I wasn't really liking what they did with the character. But, I read the preview pages last week in Justice League, and I really enjoyed them. I enjoyed them more than I've enjoyed Superman in quite a while in the New 52. So, I thought I'd give this a whirl, and I'm glad I did. I really enjoyed this. It's kind of like the prelude to the big Superman story that they've got coming up called Hell on Earth. And this kind of is the beginning of that, the setup. We start off with Superman, and there's this Dr. Veritas who is doing these experiments on him to see how strong he is and everything. Superman then goes to work, and this guy, and he's a bit of a jackass, and Superman sort of, Clark gives it back to this guy, and so like however you look at it, he either quit or he was fired, but the guy ain't tolerating what Clark said to him, so Clark's out of work. So Cat sort of follows suit, and she leaves as well. And then this big monster shows up, which like the monster's really bizarre. It's got like a big head, but then it's also got heads on its claws. So like Superman, he turns into Superman and he knocks the creature out, but because it's got heads on its claws, it's still attacking him, even though he's knocked the head out. The creature knocks Superman all the way to Ireland, and Superman manages to use this oil to burn the creature, and that sort of brings us to the end, and a little bit of a twist, a turn at the end. I really enjoyed this. It definitely made me want to get back on board with Superman. I've always really liked Superman, and you know, one of the big disappointments in the New 52 is that we've not got a regular, ongoing, strong Superman title. But with the news that Scott Snyder's going to be doing a Superman title next year, and with the new writer Scott Lobdell on here and Ken Rockford on art, it looks like we're going to get some good Superman books. I got the variant issue, wrong way up, that had like the penciled cover, original cover. As always with a Kenneth Rockerford book, it is gorgeous. Really like Rockerford's art. It looks really pretty. Clark's got a bit of a broken heart. Lois is moving in with a fella, and even though like he's kissed Wonder Woman and he's moved on, he still has feelings for Lois. I also really like how Rockerford drew the costume. I thought it was really well drawn, because you know, it doesn't always look that great, his new outfit, but all in all, yeah. So yeah, the art in this one was great. I really enjoyed this, and I think I'm back on board with Superman now. And this whole Hell on Earth storyline, I think there's a page in here. Here we go. This is the whole storyline that they're doing. The Hell on Earth is going to continue. Starts off here in October. Then November it's going to continue in Supergirl, Superboy and Superman. And then December we're going to go as well. So yeah, I think I'm going to collect all those, and I'm on board with the series. And if this is an example of what Scott Lobdell is going to do on this title, I think it's going to be good for it, and I give this one a definite thumbs up. So next up we have issue 32 of the Avengers, and it's the second part of Bendis' last story on this book. Last issue the Avengers got this signal from inner space of Avengers rescue signal, or distress signal rather. So Iron Man contacts Giant Man, and he goes over it, and he's like, wow, I know who this is. So they decide Iron Man, Giant Man, Captain America and Thor are going to travel to inner space to find this person. So they do that, and that's where this sort of the issue works its way up to the big reveal. Throughout the issue we've seen this person been on the run, been under attack, and you know, the Avengers sort of show up just in time to save her. I really like the fact that it was kind of like the original team of Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Giant Man. Kind of like going back to those early issues, really, that you only need the Hulk and the Wasp to do it. The end of the issue we do get the big reveal of who this person is, which it is a big reveal, and you know, them sort of the main villain that's going to be in this story, and a beginning of an explanation. I really enjoyed this book. I loved it. I flicked through it really fast. I think I would go as far as to say it was my second favourite book of the week. I went through a bit of a bad spell with Avengers vs X-Men. I didn't like the Avengers issues. I didn't like Walt Simonson's art. I felt really sad, because the guy is such a legend, and to see somebody come back who's legendary, but time seems to have moved them by, it was kind of sad. But also the stories, I felt many of them didn't have any kind of connection or really add anything to the whole AvX. So I did start buying this book, and Avengers has always been my favourite book. I remember when I was a kid, my local news agents would have American comics in, and I would remember every month they'd have a new stack, and I'd go in and I'd always be there when they got the new stack. and look through and try and see if they had Avengers or West Coast Avengers, because those were always my favourite books. So for me to be so disillusioned with it that I gave it up, but this definitely put back the love. The last issue was kind of just set up. It's this issue that really goes, and the events are just moving along, and you're building to that big reveal, and it pays off. Sometimes you build and then the reveal falls a bit flat, but not in this. It was brilliant all the way through. I also really enjoyed the art, and it was just a really good all-round issue. This is my favourite double page spread, of all the Avengers in Central Park. But all in all, it was just really, really good. And it builds, and then the next page you've got the reveal of who the person is. But yeah, it was brilliant. I love this book, and definite thumbs up for me. Definite thumbs up, and it reignited my love for Avengers, and I'm looking forward to seeing the end of Bendis' story. I have got that slight fear as the story peaks too soon, but you've still got Wonder Man, which I believe is going to come into this story somewhere. And in many ways, it does feel like Bendis is resetting everything. That over the years, he's done all these things. He's killed the characters off. He's turned heroes to villains. And it's kind of like he's resetting the balance. He's resetting everything for Hickman to come in with a clean slate. And that in a way that it does feel like that's going on. But like I say, I enjoy this issue and look forward to getting the next one in 2 weeks' time. And I give it, like I say, a thumbs up. So here I am with my pick of the week, and it's Talon, issue 1. I loved the Zero issue. I thought that was brilliant. A really nice origin story. This issue is very much the setup for the series. And Calvin Rose is on the run from the Court of Owls. He's the only Talon to have ever escaped their service. And he's heard what Batman has done, and he needs to know, are the Court dead? Can he now live his life? Or does he still need to be on the run? So he returns to Gotham, and he goes to this bed where the owls used to hide, and he goes there and he encounters another Talon who tries to kill him because he's on the hit list for the Court of Owls. So he's battling this owl, but they've kind of got that serum inside him that makes them like unstoppable. This old dude shows up and pours liquid nitrogen onto this Talon, and that kills them because it's cold. They don't respond well to cold. The old guy then saves Calvin Rose, but Calvin still doesn't trust this guy, and the guy says he wants his help to take out the Court of Owls. But Calvin, like I say, he don't trust the guy. But then he sees, like, the guy gives him all his history, and we sort of get all the whole setup for the series, which I don't want to spoil the end and the reveal of who the old guy is and sort of how it all ends. But it very much, by the end of the issue, you've set up what the premise of this series is going to be. If you was wondering, was it just going to be him on the run or what? No, you very much know the direction this book is going in. But this book I just loved. We're only on issue 1. We've had 0 and we've had 1, and it's definitely gone on my most wanted list every month. It's one of the books that I will be looking very forward to, and if they keep this quality up, I think this is going to be the start of a very good career for James Tynion IV. As always, the art, all these books was good. But I just really enjoyed this book, and because out of all my books, it was the one that wowed me the most. And I really like the whole presentation of Calvin Rose. He's not your typical hero, you know. In fact, could you count him as a hero? And I like that, his whole origin and everything. I've just really loved this book and what they're doing with it so far, and I think it's definitely the best book of easily the best book of the new latest wave of New 52 books, and it's quickly becoming one of the best books in the New 52 period. And I really enjoyed this book. It's my pick of the week. Definite thumbs up. And yeah, there you go. So that's my video for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the presentation was better, and that you enjoyed that. As always, thank you for watching. And you know, I will be back next week with another video. So enjoy your week, and bye for now.